Hey, how you doing today? I am Tequila Coleman. In today's video, I'm going to follow up with a part two with God Honors Covenant video. So I uploaded part one earlier today where I was talking about God Honors Covenant, and I was really addressing a comment that was left on my blog, on our God Ordained Marriage blog. I was addressing that comment because she wanted clarification on what I was saying when I said God will honor a counterfeit marriage. It's all about covenant. It's not that God is going along, with this individual being involved with a counterfeit and in marriage. No, it's covenant. What I'm trying to get you all to focus in on is the word covenant. Okay, God honors covenant. Covenant means an agreement. Okay, this is how the unseen world operates. It's all about covenants, okay? And so for you to understand this message that I'm teaching you, okay, because some of you are sit up here, oh, this is a false doctrine. I'm unsubscribing. Hurry up and unsubscribe, okay? It's not gonna hurt me. Go ahead. If you feel like what you need to do is unsubscribe because you feel like what I'm teaching is false doctrine, it's not on your level. Go ahead and unsubscribe, okay? I only want people here that receive this message that is open to a higher level of learning, right? Who actually read their Bible. I want these type of peoples here, okay? Who believe in God, who read their Bible, who will search out, who will search out what I'm saying versus being on the defensive side and quick to just call something false doctrine when you haven't even, did any type of study on your own. So you have to understand that I'm speaking about covenants, okay? And I'm gonna give you two scriptures from the Bible to back up what I'm saying here, okay? So God is a covenant keeping God, and He honors covenant. He honors whatever we come into agreement with. Meaning, I'm gonna try my best to break this down for you all. Meaning, if I choose to, okay, if God say do not fornicate, and I go out here and I fornicate, and the person I fornicate with I fall in love with, and I say this is the one, I make this person to be the one, and I ignore all the red flags God is sending me, and I sit up here and say, no, I'm getting married to this person. I'm about to marry, I don't care what anyone say. This is the one. And I marry this person. I come into agreement with that. I just made a covenant with the devil. That's a demonic covenant I just made. And God is going to honor it, right? He's going to honor it. He's going to let you sit in that marriage until you see God's hand is not on it. He's going to show you, I'm not in this. I didn't choose this for you. There's no fruit being produced. Well, it would be bad fruit that is being produced from that demonic marriage, but God will honor that until you come out of agreement with it, right? We come out of agreement with these kind of marriages by, waking up and saying, you know what, it's not working. I'm getting a divorce. We're going to separate, whatever the case may be, right? But understand, God is a covenant keeping God. That's what I'm getting at here. Okay. It's many ways how we are making covenant. And I give you another example, just like how we are standing for these God ordained marriages, right? And you're dealing with a full blown prodigal. Your prodigal has come into covenant with these counterfeits. They have. They have some of them have married these counterfeits in their heart. They didn't legally get married, but they have married them in their heart. They turned away from the Lord. They now serving the devil. And so God is showing your prodigal in this process. This is what you came into agreement with, right? He's showing them. And he's showing them by allowing them to see how their life is going down, how they losing everything, how the counterfeit they thought they chose a queen, but they actually chose someone who bring shame and dishonor to their name, right? So God is showing them this is the covenant you came into agreement with. And if you want what God has for them, they have to get in right standing with God and come into covenant in order to receive the promises of God. Okay, it's all about covenants, right? You gotta, like I said, you gotta understand this language. You have to do a scripture study on covenants, okay, to understand what I am saying here. But like I said, if you feel like this is a false doctrine and you want to unsubscribe, hurry up, go ahead and do it. Okay. So here is, and let me say this, because a lot of you like to put leaders in position to try to prove themselves to you, and I don't do that. Okay. I'm not about to prove myself to you all. I will give you two scriptures today. And if this isn't enough for your understanding, it is your responsibility to open up your Bible and get your own understanding. It's your responsibility to open up your mouth in prayer and ask God, give me an understanding around covenants because I'm missing understanding here. Okay. But I would not allow you all to put me in a position of proving myself. No, ma'am. No, sir. Okay. Let's start in the book of Judges. Let me turn over here to the book of Judges. Now, remember, I'm showing you scriptures that has to do with covenant. Okay. Now, Judges chapter 1. I'm going to skip around here. Okay. I'm not going to read this. I mean, not chapter 1. I'm not going to read this whole chapter. Judges chapter 6 is where we are at. Judges chapter 6. I'm going to start with verse 1. It say again, the Israelite did evil in the eyes of the Lord. And for 7 years, he gave them into the hands of the Midianites because the power of the Midian was so oppressive. Well, let me just start right there. So the Israelite did evil in the eyes of the Lord, and as a result, he gave them over into the hands of the Midianite, right? Now, when you skip down, let's go down to verse number 7. Judges chapter 6, verse 7. It says, when the Israelite cried to the Lord because of the Midian, he sent them a prophet who said, now the Israelite is crying out to the Lord because they're being defeated, they're being oppressed. And so he sent them a prophet, and this is what the prophet said. This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. I brought you up out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery. I snatched you from the power of Egypt and from the hand of all your oppressors. I drove them from you. I drove them from before you and gave you their land. I said to you, I am the Lord your God. Do not worship the gods of the Amorites in whose land you live. But you have not listened to me. This is why they were being defeated, because they did not listen to God. They came into agreement or made a covenant with the enemy. Okay. And we see this if you jump over to Judges chapter 6. Let's start at verse 25. He about to tell them, he about to tell Gideon, this is why you're being defeated. Judges chapter 6, verse 25. That same night, the Lord said to him, take the second bull from your father's herd, the one 7 years old, tear down your father's altar to Baal and cut down the Asher pole beside it. Then build a proper kind of altar to the Lord your God. This is why they were being defeated. It was all about covenant. When they came into agreement when Gideon's father brought that, what was it? The altar. When he created that, when he built that altar to Baal, that was a covenant he made with the God. That was a covenant he made with Baal, okay, which was an enemy to God. And so this is why the Israelites were being defeated. Okay. I hope you understand this, right? And if they wanted to see victory, God just gave Gideon the strategy. Okay. He gave him the strategy. He said, tear down and then build me a proper altar to the Lord, your God. Okay. So that's one example of covenant. Okay. Let's go over to 1 Kings 11 about Solomon. And these wives, the Lord told him not to intermarry with. Okay. Solomon chapter 11. Let's start at verse 2. It says, you must not intermarry with them. Well, going up, it tells you who he's talking about. Okay. I can't say all these names, y'all. Y'all going to have to read verse 1. It says, King Solomon, this is verse 1. First King chapter 11, verse 1. King Solomon, however, loved many foreign women besides Pharaoh's daughter, Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, Sidonians, I think that's how you say it, Sidonians, and Hittites, something. Y'all can read it. They were from nations about which the Lord had told the Israelite, you must not intermarry with them, because they will surely turn your hearts after their gods. Now you see, God has told him, do not intermarry with them. Nevertheless, Solomon held fast to them in love. He had 700 wives of royal birth and 300 concubines, and his wives led him astray. As Solomon grew old, his wives turned his heart after other gods, and his heart was not fully devoted to the Lord his God, as the heart of David his father had been. And it goes on to say how he basically, he followed their gods. Verse 6 says, so Solomon did evil in the eyes of the Lord. He did not follow the Lord completely as David his father had done. Okay. um Let's skip down to verse 9. It said the Lord became angry with Solomon because his heart had turned away from the Lord, the God of Israel, who had appeared to him twice. Although he had forbidden Solomon to follow other gods, Solomon did not keep the Lord's command. So the Lord said to Solomon in verse 11, since this is your attitude and you have not kept my covenant, this is in the NIV version. Since this is your attitude and you have not kept my covenant and my decrees, which I commanded you, I will most certainly tear the kingdom away from you and give it to one of your subordinates. Okay. So I gave you two examples of how covenant, when we come into these, when we make these covenants, you know, it's left up to us to come out of agreement, okay, with when we make covenants with the demonic, okay? It's up to us. God leaves it up to us. He would even highlight to us, okay, just like he did with Gideon. He was like, you want to know why y'all being defeated? You want to know why the Israelite being defeated? Because your father, he just, made this Baal. Made this, created this altar to Baal. This is why y'all being defeated. Now, if you want victory, tear it down. So God would even tell us, right, where the problem is at, where we went wrong at, so that we can make it right and get back in right standing with God, get back in covenant with God. Okay. So that's all I wanted to say here. Like I said, you have to understand this. To understand this message I'm preaching, okay, you have to learn and get understanding around covenants. Okay. So that is it. I am Tequila Coleman. I'll talk to you all real soon. Take care.